Hi people, welcome to the Run Testers and our review of the HOKA Zinal 2. Now this is a racy shoe that HOKA says is designed to deliver the same light, responsive precision as the original Zinal, but it now comes with an amped up response, better grip. So how does it fare on the trails? Watch on to find out in our HOKA Zinal 2 review. Let's start with those key specs then, and the HOKA Zinal 2 has a lower stack than the first generation. It's down to 30 mils in the heel and 25 mils in the forefoot for an overall 5 mil drop. The lugs are now deeper too. They now come in at 5 mils. I think that's up from 4 mils on the last generation. It's now also lighter than the previous generation, coming in at 7.3 ounces or 208 grams in our UK men's size 8.5 test shoe. Price wise, it will set you back £160 in the UK or $160 in the US. So let's have a quick whip round of the shoe, and let's start with the cushioning then, where you've got a lower profile EVA midsole here, and that's designed to keep your feet a little bit closer to the ground and well connected to the trail. It's now smaller stacked than the previous generation, though relatively speaking actually, despite the fact that it looks quite minimal, there's still quite a high stack. It's not far off the similarly midsole's HOKA Challenger 7, in fact, surprisingly. Overall that EVA is pretty firm though, so it can feel less cushioned than those shoes. There's also a light rocker to the midsole unit. Up top, to enhance the strip back and racy feel, you've got a sock-like upper here that's made from a part recycled mesh. It's got that quite really structured plasticky feel that suggests it'll ward off water well, but it doesn't scream comfort overall. It's a very, very racy shoe. There's also a stretch knit collar here to help keep debris out in a kind of booty fit, along with a heel tab to help you get them on. It's very useful if you've got high insteps and wide feet and need a little help. It's all a bit reminiscent to me of something like the Nike Free shoes with the way the kind of booty works. Flip them over and you've got a Vibram Mega Grip outsole, and the 5mm lugs are 1mm bigger than on the original Zinal to help improve grip in the mud and on technical terrain. So fit for me in the HOKA Zinal then, I ran in a UK 8.5, which is my size normally. I think these shoes are very tight, they're very compact. I mean, they're very narrow, very, very slim fitting. So you might call that kind of like a race hugging fit, but it's cramped for me. They're cramped in the toe box, they're cramped across the midfoot. And for the first for the first few miles of many of my runs, it's been like having clamps on your feet. You're gonna have to like a really narrow, closed fit to enjoy these in terms of the fit. Going half a size up may fix some of that for sure. I don't think it's gonna fix everything though. I think this is just the way they're built. They're obviously built light and racy, but for me, the fit is kind of a no. I don't really enjoy it. It's just too cramped.
The fit for me in the Zinal 2, I would say that I have the right size. This is a size 8 in the UK. I'm a size 8, but it is a very, very lean shoe. It's quite narrow around the midfoot. There's not a lot of space in the toe box, and I did find on the right hand side of my right foot it was rubbing a bit against my little toe, so it's definitely not a shoe for somebody who has a wider foot. And also, even though I would stick to my size, it's not a lot of space in this shoe. It's a performance shoe, and if you're looking for a shoe that maybe has a little bit of extra space in it, a little bit of wiggle room, this shoe won't do it. But I would stay to my size if I wanted a performance shoe that was very lean. So the Zinal 2 is quite a big difference from the original Zinal. I used the original one when I went away to Croatia for a few weeks last year, and I was using it as a daily training shoe. I only took a couple of pairs of trail shoes with me. One of them was the Zinal, and I used it on the trails, but I also used it on road as well. It's a very lean shoe, but the outsole of it was actually not very aggressive, so you could use it for shorter distance runs on harder paths and some road as well. It was also very comfortable shoe to wear. It was lightweight, but it also had more traditional upper than what you get on the Zinal 2. So I think the thing about the Zinal 2 is that a lot of the changes have been made to really make it a little bit more performance focused on the trails. One of the biggest of those is the outsole. So it's got these new aggressive 5mm lugs on it, and they are quite noticeable. It's quite a hard outsole. It's really designed for more technical running, so you need to be out on the trails to actually be able to use this shoe. I did a run in it today, which was on a bit of road, and eventually I ended up on the trails where I was on muddy forests and hills and some fields as well. And what I found was that on the road sections, you can't really use it on road. It's too firm, and it's very minimal when it comes to cushioning, so it just doesn't really work on road. Once you get onto the trails, it is definitely a more aggressive trail shoe than what I found from the original Zinal. It is definitely nimble, lightweight. The grip's very good when you're running out on the trails. It's definitely designed for more technical terrain, and it does a good job at that. It's a very quick shoe. It's a very light shoe. The upper as well has been redesigned to be, it has got this sort of sock fit upper, which is designed to be hold your foot in place. It's designed to protect the inside of the shoe from debris and stuff like that, rocks, things like that. And it is very comfortable, but it is also quite hard to get on as well, I found. It's a very lean upper, and for some people, I don't think that's going to be that enjoyable. It's definitely not a comfortable upper for me, but it does do the job if you're looking for a lightweight trail shoe and your focus really is speed. What I found about the shoe is that on trails, specifically sort of hardened mud, forest paths, things like that, it works very well. On softer ground, the more rigid, firmer midsole of this delivers quite well. It's a very quick shoe to run in. I felt like I could really run quickly on this. If I was doing a trail race and maybe it went up to 5k or 10k, I think this would be a very good shoe for that. It's very nippy, and you don't really feel it on your feet. It's that light, but it's not a comfortable shoe. I definitely wouldn't use this for daily training miles. I definitely wouldn't use it if I'm going for a nice little hour-long run on the trails. I'd only really use it if I was going all-out speed, just because it's not an enjoyable cruising shoe, and due to that leanness, it just doesn't really have a lot of cushioning in it to make you have a nice comfortable run, really. There's definitely a nice bit of pickup in it. You can really quickly accelerate in this shoe due to how light it is, but also it's got a nice bit of rigidity in it, so when you are picking up the pace, it's very good at doing that. If you're going downhill, things like that, you can really get a nice pace in this. It's a fast shoe. I'd say that the upper is nice and breathable, but it's not the most comfortable design that you'll get on a trail shoe. It's quite plasticky. It's not really designed for comfort. It's more designed for protection, and that's really all I got from the upper. I didn't really think that it was a nice comfortable shoe to wear. There's a little bit of covering on the toe box as well, but it's not really protective toe covering. I don't think this would be a very good shoe if you were running in really pointy rocks and things like that, because it's not going to protect your feet. It's a very lean shoe, as I keep saying, so it's not going to be the sort of shoe that protects you on the trails. It's really stripped down for speed above all else. I did find that outsole grip to be very good. I wasn't running in the wet when I tested this shoe out, but on the inclines and declines of the forests and of the hills that I was running on, it felt very good. That Vibram outsole is as good as you'd expect from a Vibram outsole, and it really does have a very sticky, tacky rubber design to it. So it's definitely a good shoe if you want something for hitting technical terrain and you want peace of mind that you're going to have the grip to do that, which is far superior to the previous Zinal running shoe.
So for my run test of the HOKA Zinal, I have now done probably around about 30 kilometers. Now, that's not the distance that I would usually do in a shoe before I do a review. I'd like to go further. But the truth is that every time I put these shoes on, 5Ks up to 10Ks is probably the max that I've really wanted to run in them. This is partly, for me, the way they're built. They are very stripped back, they're very minimal. There is a lot of ground contact, they're very firm. They're very tight, they're very compact, they're very racy. And for that reason, I think, getting in straight into what I'd use these for, they feel like a shoe that you want to go short and fast in on the trails, max. This is not a shoe that I think personally I would lace up to go over a couple of hours. Today I've just done an hour and 10 minutes in them, and yeah, they're not the most forgiving shoe. So I think there's that. Now, I mentioned it in the fit, I'm going to repeat it here because I think it's really important. They are very narrow, very hugging, very tight. There is very little room in the toe box here. My toes, I feel them right now, are squished together quite badly. That is something that, again, it's not going to allow you, I don't think, to go for long distances. And if you like a roomy shoe, you're not going to like these, I don't think, because they have got that real kind of race hugging fit. It feels almost like a marathon race shoe where you've got that really sort of tight fit. It's not something that I've really enjoyed on the trails too much. I prefer to have a bit more room. Now, when it comes to the ride underfoot, in the tests that I've done Again, these are very direct. You are going to feel a lot of ground coming up. Now that shallower stack of midsole, while it's not giving you protection, it's not really going to give you too much kind of bounce and spring either. You do get a fair amount of quick turnover from the rocker. I feel the rocker in these, and that does help with the clip through. Quite a lot actually, quite significantly. You could really feel it sort of doing that. But these are a shoe that you're going to have to pick your feet up pretty quick, and just because of that ground coming up, you feel the impact. So you're going to have to move with a fast turnover to get these shoes to work for you. When you do that, okay, they do a job. And again, if you're going to go out and race a fast 5k off-road or a fast 10k off-road, and you're a good lightweight runner, I'd say these shoes could do a really good job for you. If you're heavier, if you usually rely on a bit more cushion on the trails, if you don't like that ground impact feel coming up, then the Zinal, in all of my tests that I've done, they've just felt a little bit too firm, even for somebody who normally likes a firm shoe. And that's even against trail shoes where some do come up firmer anyway. Even like a Innovate Trailfly 270 or something, those can be quite direct themselves, but these are really, really taking it to the nth degree. It's really quite a stripped back feel. It reminds me a little bit actually of the Naked TR trail shoe, again, which was a firm direct shoe that I feel like it's the kind of preserve of people who can move much faster and much lighter across the ground than I can. And this is a shoe that every time I've put it on initially, it hasn't really felt particularly comfortable. I've run across the roads to the trails in it. It's quite hard on the tarmac, but over time, the longer you get going in it, it does ease off a little bit. It's still not great in terms of that overall comfort, but it does become more comfortable, I think, particularly when you hit, you might hit a bit of grass or you hit some softer trails, then that's cool. I definitely think it's got pretty good grip. It's quite light, you can weave down hills and you can pick your way. You can, you're definitely feeling the ground underfoot. And, because it's pretty direct, you've got quite a lot of stability here. You're relying on your foot landing, and you can really feel where each of your footsteps is landing. And that does help you kind of pick down sort of more technical trails. But you're going to feel those stones, you're going to feel the roots, you're going to feel things coming up underneath. So again, it's a bit of swings and roundabouts here. Again, I'm going back to that idea. If you're light-footed and you're fast, then maybe that's going to be fine. But if you're a heavy lander, even on the downs, you're bashing your heels in, these are not going to be for you.
So my verdict on the Zinal 2 is that if you're looking for all-out speed, you want the most stripped down trail shoe that you can get that's still going to give you the technical benefits of running out on the trails, then this is a good shoe for that. That's really all I would use it for. So if I was racing, I would happily use this shoe. If it was over a shorter distance, I wouldn't go up to half marathon in this shoe. It's just too light for me. There's not enough cushioning in it for me, and I just don't think I'd enjoy that. It just feels a little bit too minimal for the sort of running that I do. But if I was doing 5k and 10k races and they were on the trails, maybe if I was doing a park run that was on the trails, I think this should be a very good shoe for that. It's fast, it's nippy, and it does the job. I think the problem comes when it comes down to comfort. It's not a very comfortable shoe for me. I don't think I'd want to pick this up if I was going to enjoy a trail run. I think it just hasn't got the elements in it that make it a comfortable shoe to wear. The upper isn't particularly accommodating. There's not a lot of padding in it, and the outsole is quite firm and minimal for me, so it doesn't really do very well on harder surfaces either. So basically, if you want a fast shoe for shorter distances on the trails, I think it's a good job, but for anything else, I probably wouldn't pick it up for those sorts of runs. If you're looking at this shoe, then you're definitely looking for a lightweight trail racer. Alternatives for me would be something like the Arc'teryx SL3, which is probably actually a little bit leaner than this, only just. I'd probably go for this shoe over that one, just because that shoe is really, really minimal, and there's not a lot to it. I definitely would not use that shoe for anything over 5k, maybe wouldn't even go up to 10k in that shoe, and the outsole on this is far superior to that shoe. I'd also say that the North Face Summit Vective Sky is a bit heavier than this, but it's a good alternative. It's a little bit there's a bit more to that shoe. It's a bit more comfortable, but it is still like a fast trail racer if you're looking for something that you can pick up the pace in on the trails.
My verdict on the HOKA Zinal then, well, I've seen some reviewers say that the stack on this isn't low and racy enough, but for me the firmness and directness, along with that race hugging, slightly restrictive upper, makes this a shoe that I'd only ever really use for short blasts and races on the trail. Now, I actually prefer my shoes firmer and more direct, but even for me, I found it a little unforgiving at times. Now, unless you're moving with intent with a fast foot turnover, or you're going to go out and smash a speedy trail 10k, then I think this shoe might be a little bit too direct. This is a shoe I think that's best for short, speedy off-road efforts. And for that, it's definitely a light, agile, responsive weapon. But if your trail racing stretches into marathons and ultras and long time on feet, I fear this shoe might not offer the cushioning and protection that most runners are going to need. I wouldn't want to be wearing this deep into 100k, for example. So overall, I'd say it's got good grip, it's got a lively ride with okay stability, it's big on the ground contact if you want that, but it's low on the protection. And for me, it's only suited to very specific use. Unless you're really after a precision trail race shoe, I think you can spend that £160 that this will cost you, or even less, elsewhere to get more versatile shoes that I think it'll suit a wider range of runners. I understand what HOKA is trying to offer here. I just don't think it'll be many people's cup of tea. So there you have it. That's been our review of the stripped back and racy HOKA Zinal 2. We hope you found it useful. Hit like and subscribe if so. If you're in the market for a good trail shoe and not sure where to start, check out our best trail shoes video, which will appear on the channel just about now. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again soon on the Run Testers. Good luck with your running out there, whether you're hitting the trail or the road, and whatever you're trying to achieve. Go and get it.